Hey y'all, welcome back to this week's episode of AMA Friday with Amy Miller, recruiting and yoga pants. Okay, so it's been a wild week. I am exhausted, but you know what? AMA never sleeps, so couldn't miss a week. Had to throw something together for you guys. Where do we start? So we're going to tackle OFCCP compliance this week. My girlfriend, Kristen Fife, wrote a phenomenal article on this last week. So we kicked off the conversation with the candidates versus applicants discussion from last week. So I'll link to that video above. Definitely check it out if you've not already. And also read Kristen's article on LinkedIn. I will link to that down below because it's a really good overview of OFCCP and why it matters, who it impacts, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's solid. Like, I don't even really have anything to discuss that wasn't already tackled there. So that's it. That's the video. Go read Kristen's article. But no, I thought, since we'd already kind of planned to discuss it, maybe we can dig into what it looks like from the recruiter's perspective. I think, one of the things I've always tried to do on the channel is really break down the barriers between job seekers and recruiters. I think there are a number of artificial barriers that are built up because of our own biases, because of our experiences. I had a bad time with the recruiter once, so therefore they're terrible. I got a lowball offer once, therefore obviously recruiters are out to, separate me from my money. I mean, we kind of take these one-off situations, and a lot of times it didn't even happen to us. We hear that somebody had a bad time, and then all of a sudden, oh my God, well, my resume was rejected in 5 minutes flat. Clearly there's a bot. Is there though? So, the goal of this channel really has been all about trying to tear down those walls and kind of peel back the bullshit that separates us, because we want the same thing. I want successful applicants. If someone has applied to my role and they fit the requirements, it is like Christmas time up in here, okay? I am excited because you've already expressed interest. You've already given me an indication that you would seriously consider the role. I don't have to sell you on it necessarily, because you're already in. And now I just get to focus on the work of helping you prepare for interviews, getting you through the process, and making you an offer. Like, applicants, literally Christmas, okay? It is like Christmas, birthday, any gift-giving occasion, all wrapped into one and delivered to my desk. OFCCP impacts applicants, and I get it. And so let's talk about that, okay? So what does it look like on my end? It starts with the job description. And so the first goal any recruiter should be looking at, and something that we have to get right from the start, is making sure that our basic qualifications in our job posting are legitimate. So for recruiters that are watching this is a lesson for you as well as an explanation for job seekers. If you are not pushing back on unreasonable basic qualifications, you need to work on that. I'm throwing down the gauntlet right now. I need you to really start building that muscle. I will help you. Email me, amy@recruitingandyogapants.com, if you need some talking points or you need some guidance on how to push back on hiring managers. But that's an important one that we have to get right out the gate, because that is going to set the tone for the kinds of people that we can engage with from the applicant pool, okay? So setting the right expectations, having the right basic qualifications. Basic qualifications have to be measurable. There's 3 rules of basic qualifications. It has to be measurable. It has to be objective, not subjective. Can't be subject to interpretation. It has to be clear as 2 + 2. And it has to be readily identifiable on a resume. Measurable. This is a lot of times where we end up defaulting to years of experience, minimum 2 years doing this thing, minimum 5 years doing that thing, whatever. It's because we have to be able to measure it. I get a lot of shit for years of experience, and I get it. It's a flawed measure because, well, if we're asking for 3 years and someone has 2 years and 9 months, well, gee, aren't you dumb? Well, yeah, but because the government made me dumb. Okay, I mean, it's their rules. I'm just trying to stay out of the audit office. Okay, so that's the measurable piece. The objective piece, and this is where that's tied to a very clear and specific set of experiences or backgrounds. So at least 2 years of experience writing code in Java, C++, C# or related language. Okay, that is objective. You have either written code in one of those languages or a similar language, or you have not. It's not like, must be a good coder, because what does that mean? I mean, I think I'm a good recruiter, but I guarantee you there's somebody out there that doesn't. So how do we measure that, right? How do you say Amy's a good recruiter? Well, Amy hired X number of people and Amy, whatever. There's all kinds of measures you could use. But anyway, so that's the objective piece. Okay, so measurable, objective, and then easily findable on a resume. This is on you guys. Okay, let me be very clear. All y'all are responsible for what is on that resume. All I can do is look at the resume and decide, are those two things met? Does it have the right measurement? And is that an objective ask? And is it readily identified on the resume? So that is how we look at and create basic qualifications. Again, the job of the recruiter is to push back, make those as minimal, succinct, and clear as possible. Okay, so once that is done, job posting goes up, applicants start coming in. This is the part where thought leaders are screwing you guys over. I'm just gonna say it. Anybody who is charging you money to optimize your resume for the ATS, or selling you coaching services that tells you to bypass applications or network your way in, or just apply anyway because basic qualifications don't matter. People who are spinning you those lies, I mean, you can listen to them if you want, but I wouldn't pay for it. You might as well go get your palm read for all the good it'll do you. Why not? Tell me my future. I actually did that once and it was pretty on point. It was a little freaky. I don't really buy into that stuff so much. I mean, I think horoscopes are funny sometimes, but it's not really my bag. But I did get my palm read once and it was scarily accurate. That's beside the point. Actually, I remember it said something about like I should work with children or old people, which was really interesting because I did end up being not only a preschool teacher for some time, but I was also a CNA at a nursing home before I got into recruiting. So who knew? Anyway, back to the point. So people who are giving you this advice, just use it with caution, y'all, okay? I mean, I get a little snarky about this and I tend to say some outrageous shit when it comes to thought leaders, but I really hate the idea of you being separated from your money when they're giving you advice that literally doesn't work at the places that you want to work. That's the key here. Okay, so many of you email me literally every day, want to get into FAANG, I want to get into this company, I want to get into that organization. Baby, if they're bound by OFCCP, that thought leader bullshit ain't gonna get you nowhere. Okay, so I need to be really, really clear and honest and transparent with you about what does that look like on the recruiting side. So job is posted, basic qualifications are out there. I now have a required workflow that I have to put the applicants through. And that would be me. That would not be Sherman. Okay, a real live person, AKA myself, is responsible for managing that workflow and making sure that I have done my due diligence, that I have personally put my eyeballs on the resume, measurable, objective, on the resume. If the answer is no, it goes into the reject pile. And there is a specific drop down that I have to select. Like, it is not a joke. And this has been in every ATS I've worked at and every OFCCP compliant company that I've worked at, okay? Don't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, because I have literally done this and been paid to do it. I know what I'm talking about, okay? If you disagree, give me a call. Let's discuss, okay? So we go through that workflow, we reject the people that don't meet the requirements, and we ideally identify some that do, and we're able to move forward with them, review with the hiring manager, etc., and so on. So that's why this stuff matters. And I know that there's an argument to be made for, well, gosh, I'm really close, or I'm, I have 80% of the requirements, not all the requirements. We can absolutely dig into that in a future video if that would be helpful for you, because I think there are going to be some cases where it's beneficial to at least try to be on a company's radar, because there are often other roles that may have slightly lower requirements. Now, of course, you should apply to those instead, but again, we can dig into that topic another time. I think there's tremendous value in that discussion too. But for this week's purposes, I really wanted y'all to understand federal compliance rules, federal contracting rules, OFCCP, and how a recruiter navigates it. It is serious business, you guys. I don't want to be on the wrong end of one of those audits. So I take that part of my job very seriously. I cannot screw up. I cannot let Sherman run wild in the ATS. I have to own processing those applicants, and I cannot consider an applicant that does not meet basic qualifications. So think about that in your next job search as you're looking at companies that might be federal contractors. Because again, like Kristen's article said, the only rule is that a company is doing business with the government. That's a lot of the FAANG companies, maybe all of them. That's the security guard company down the street that has security guards placed at the federal building. That's the National Park Service, vendor that's putting the toilet paper back in the bathrooms. Like, y'all got to understand that federal contracting is a huge umbrella with a lot of companies underneath it, okay? So, best rule of thumb I can give you, apply to jobs you meet the qualifications for, network. You've got the 3-way networking templates that are available to you at amy@recruitinginyogapants.com, networking in the subject line. And breathe. Okay, you got this. We're here to help. Let us know what you think down below. If you think there's more to this topic we should tackle, let me know. We will talk about it. If you have other ideas for the channel, I want to talk about what's important to you, drop a comment, send me an email, and we will see you next week.